Hello everyone and welcome to the third episode of the R6ANZ podcast. Today we have a very special episode because we all have face cams and it is a casters only podcast today. We have special guests Monkeyfist and amFlea. Say hi guys.
Hey guys.
Hello.
And of course the regular hosts, myself, Russian Cthulhu and Sky.
Hello.
Hi guys.
So this is going to be a pretty chill episode, as you can tell. I mean, we're not going to be out talking to any particular pro players about their matches and stuff. We're going to be kind of talking mostly about casting, since we have such a myriad of casting experiences on the panel today. Whew. So, LAN's coming up soon.
So,
Pretty sure everyone here is going to LAN.
yep, I'm super keen for that, eh?
Yeah. What was it like last
I'm
time?
looking forward to it.
What
I
was
felt like a kid in a candy shop when I walked into the air station. I was just sitting there. I was just bouncing on my feet the entire time. It was pretty, it was a pretty surreal experience.
Oh, you just stole my word. That's the exact word I was going to use to explain it. Like, the first time I sat on the desk with Kameen, he was explaining everything and what we're going to do, and the buttons that we could push for back and stuff like that. Like, I was like, okay, okay, yeah.
But the bigger question is was it over the moon though?
bit early to bring out the big memes, don't you think? Gotta stay with the big memes.
Yeah, I reckon that'd be an absolutely just amazing experience. I feel like that is the dream.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
really excited to be heading to LAN. It's going to be so unbelievably I'm going to be the kid in the candy shop this time, Flea, and you're going to be the veteran returning and knowing where everything is. Yeah.
I'm not going to be as veteran as Monkey. He went down just a couple of weeks back.
Oh, yeah, that was
Yeah, and I've also been doing stuff at the CG studio here in Adelaide, so I've been doing quite a bit of studio work. Yeah, casting Counter-Strike at the moment, Flea. So yeah, you've been heaps out of the loop lately. I haven't seen you in ages.
Yeah, I know. I've been busy. It's all behind me now, so back into it.
All right, awesome. Are we going to do predictions for LAN today, or?
Yeah, go for it. I mean, we're going to have predictions in the panel at LAN itself, I'm sure, but go for it.
Oh, I don't know.
All right.
You don't have a prediction?
Let's start.
What I was going to say is, I reckon the Australian teams are going to do okay. I reckon
I
that
think
both
they're
of them
going
are
to do
going to
really
get.
well.
You reckon they're going to? Yeah, from what I've seen from the other regions, they don't look as strong. The one I'd be worried about would be Tide, or whoever they're going to.
Absolutely.
I can't even remember.
I think it's Cryptic.
But the Cryptic sounds like it. But yeah, the other regions just don't look as strong, and none of them will have the experience that Tide have had. So I reckon we're definitely going to see Mindfreak in the final, whether we see Corvidae.
Yeah. So the bracket was released a little while back. We all got to see, and I think people were kind of sympathetic for Corvidae. They thought they had a particularly tough end of the bracket. I think I'm right. They had tied up second match, assuming they win the first one against, I think it's Unique Monster or something. I'm gonna have to bring that up.
No, I believe it's one of the Japanese teams.
Was it ANZ maybe? I think.
I had it open before.
ANZ.
I think it's Irons or Norengo, one of those two teams.
Yeah. I'm gonna slightly change the topic. To be fair, about the the difference between the casting within the studio and casting online. How much was it different? Let's start with you, Monkey.
For me, the biggest thing was there's actually a camera that I have to talk to. Whereas I'm at home, I'll be looking around, just talking to the players while trying to talk. That's how it comes. Sometimes you'll hear me, I'm in the middle of a sentence, and I just stop talking because I'm trying to think of what I'm doing. I suppose also the second biggest thing, or it was the most off-putting thing, is sometimes you'd hear someone from production just start talking in your ear, oi, we're gonna switch to this scene right now. And you're right in the middle of a sentence, and that's just as off-putting, as you're trying to think of two things at once. But I suppose they didn't really talk to us much at all, did they, Flea? It was only occasionally.
They did talk to Ben a fair bit though. So,
Davis said it
but
was
they
a
didn't.
constant flow of information through his ears, so he was
Yeah,
hearing a lot. And
they left us out of the loop for a fair bit and just let us
Yeah.
cast.
that was good.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah. The biggest difference for me is camera work. The fact that the sole focus of what you're doing in the studio is casting. You can make much better analysis. You pick up on things
Yeah.
that you otherwise miss because you're too busy trying to control cameras and look for other
Yeah.
things. And
Can take
like
notes and such. Yeah.
yeah, like when I rewatch some of the VODs that I stream online, I consistently realize how much I miss and how much I get wrong. And it's like,
Calling
but
Wildman Warden all the time.
yeah, but like in studio, you don't that just didn't happen because we're not worried about the
Yeah.
camera work.
Like how often did they crash? And like we just had so much to talk about anyway. Like I don't think we ever felt like we were like struggling for things to talk about.
No,
in
I don't
between
think
all
I
those
don't think we
breaks,
were
'cause-
either, to be honest. And we
Yeah.
had so much to dissect. There were really good matches, which helped as well. If there were 5-0s, it wouldn't have been as good. But yeah, damn it, Chalet. But so it actually did. Yeah, it didn't feel like we were ever pressed for things to talk about. And they were amazed with how much we were there to talk about.
Yeah.
Like when we got off, they were like, "We were so glad we hired 2 of you."
Yeah.
Because like that just wouldn't have happened if they didn't know Siege. So
Yeah.
I think duo casting is just such a different experience to solo casting, and I mean we have all kinds of technical issues that happen when we try and duo cast online. We're always trying to look like Monkey just found like another program to try and duo cast with to make it slightly easier. But once you're actually in the studio and you get all that aside, duo casting is so much more deep. Like there's so much more depth, and you can bounce off, and there's so much more dynamic and interesting. It's just
and you pick up on hand gestures as well. Like Monkey and I said, we were talking about it for most of the day actually when we went to go pick up Monkey's shirt. We were talking about it most of the day about what hand gestures we wanted to use for what and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And it helped us a lot in terms of bouncing back and forth between each other. Because we didn't have to interrupt each other. You could just make a hand gesture towards them, and the other person would wrap up their thought or bounce it or directly bounce it over to you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I suppose also I was gonna say something, really make the hand gesture. What I was gonna say is like also when I worked with Gadget or Go Gadget over in Sydney, I think I learned heaps about the analysing side of things because he was there purely to do the play-by-play, whereas when Flea and I cast, we normally do a lot of the hybrid stuff. So I think I learned a lot about how like we should interact as a duo in regards to one doing play-by-play and one doing analysis, and like it just gave me a bit of a whole kind of new look on how to do the color casting rather than the play-by-play.
I've always found it interesting because I didn't really know that there were these 2 set roles until I watched that video, which I can't remember who made it, but it was a video about League of Legends casting, and they described the color casting.
It was done by OPL, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was done by the Australian League. Yeah,
it was a really good video, but I think that something that Kick said on one of his streams really hit the nail on the head. When it comes to Siege, it's a game where you can't just have one person who sits there and talks kind of filler analysis for most of the thing, and the other person just chips in and goes crazy on the play-by-play. I feel like that you really need to know both sides of it, because when it goes into the play-by-play, all of that analysis, that's suddenly coming in, and it's all collapsing at once, and that's why you really need to have both at the same time. And Siege is such a spontaneous game that you can have like a need for serious play-by-play casting in the first 30 seconds of a round sometimes. So
yeah, 100% agree. Like the story of the round is all over the place. Like something like, for example, Counter-Strike, the story is going to be pretty much the same every round. Whereas the tactics that the defenders can employ in the 45 seconds for prep phase, and also the tactics that the attackers can do in the 30 seconds, can really decide whether this is going to be a fast-paced or slow, long, drawn-out one.
Okay.
I guess this is a question for you, Monkey, sort of relating to when you casted with Go Gadget. I think from the outside, he performed absolutely phenomenally for clearly not having too much Siege experience. How do you feel like casting alongside him? How do you feel he performed?
So I did speak to him a few times, like in the breaks, just certain things to do, like you know, so the prep work we did was we jumped in casual for a bit, about 2 hours I think, just talking the whole time.
Huh.
My voice was getting sore, just trying to explain everything in casual, not in a competitive environment. So and then like he did a heap of prep work himself. Like he printed off information about all the operators and what their gadget does and such, and like I think also the fact that there's only so few meta operators, he kind of got into the swing of it a bit faster than he would if they were playing every single operator, and also the fact that we saw just tons of Oregon. And like, yeah, I suppose, I was there to try and help and support him, and like, I think he did very well. Like, yeah.
I mean, you could definitely
Yeah.
tell that he didn't have the depth of game knowledge, and like the map knowledge is something that we all take for granted, and we just know it because we played the game and we play those maps. We know that's piano and that's kitchen, etc.
Yeah.
But like, not having that and still going off and making like he just had really good like talking skills, and not tripping over his words and staying and keeping on top of things, and I really made it, I think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask, bounce from that. At the start of the whole casting within R6ANZ,
Yeah.
when both you, Monkey, and Flea were doing mostly the solo cast, and then when you kind of started going in for those duo casts, how much was a difference, or let's say even hardship, to adapt to duo cast and not actually talk over each other?
I think it's way easier. Like,
Okay.
when you're solo casting, you just want to take that break to, collect your thoughts and, like, just think. Like, sometimes just talking constantly gets hard.
Mhm.
Like, I find myself maybe getting a bit lazy and just, like, letting there be a bit of silence while I'm, like, reading chat or whatever, which I probably shouldn't be doing, but, whatever.
Makes it interactive.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it just I find it easier to duo cast because you can have that person to lean on when you're taking a mini break, because like, can you imagine like trying to do like a whole Go 4 tournament or Cyber Gaming tournament all by yourself, like 5+ hours of just
It got
non-stop
pretty
talking
hard, yeah.
by yourself?
I mean,
Yeah,
that's what we used to do.
yeah,
Most.
yeah.
They used to run from like midday to like 10 p.m. And it was, if you were the only one casting, oh god, that got painful. But yeah, no, I didn't find the transition from solo to duo that hard either. It helped that Monkey and I had played a bit as well beforehand, and amongst like ranked and pub teams and whatever else. So we'd played together and we knew each other pretty well in the game. So when we started casting together, I don't think there was that much of an issue in regards to talking over each other. I mean, every now and then we still both tried to come in with a thought or something like that, and it's still and we but even to this day when we cast online, that's just going to happen because you're not there next to each other. But it did help the way that we do duo cast, or the way that we did do a duo cast with Skype, sort of cemented you into a play-by-play and color caster role, because Skype was just so framey that the person who wasn't hosting could not do the play-by-play. It was just impossible. So
they're just seeing a slideshow of the match as it goes on.
Yeah, exactly. And we had to, and you didn't have any sound either. So it also made it hard because like you didn't hear like grenades get thrown and all other sorts of crap. So it sort of cemented the person who wasn't hosting into the color caster role. And some of the time it was me, some of the time it was Monkey, and so it just sort of happened. Like we didn't have that thing where we tried to talk over each other because we were just cemented into our own roles because of the programs we used.
It's just like, yeah, I can hear what you're saying, but can I see it? Sometimes.
Yeah, the feels.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, that's exactly what happened to me as soon as I started casting. I remember my very first cast. It was with you, Monkey, and it was on Bank.
Was it?
Yeah, it was with you, and it was on Bank, and it was Valkyrie versus some other team. No offense to that other team. And we got we got two. It was a ladder match, all right. We got 2 minutes in, and the stream crashed, and I'm just sitting there on I didn't know what had happened because Discord doesn't drop out immediately, so you were still there, and like I think it was your internet at your home had crashed, and so I was sitting there watching one frame of this Skype video, like, yeah. So as you can see, we do seem to be having some technical issues. I'm just gonna go and talk to and then I get the Discord messages from you. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. And then I wanted to show my friends, like, hey guys, look, I did this casting. You can watch 2 minutes of it, and it's great. And because of the delay,
I
was
do
like,
remember that.
yeah.
I do remember that. Yeah.
It was not a good first experience.
That's alright. At this
yeah.
place, I got much better internet, so I don't think it's crashed since.
Nice.
Nah,
Doing better than me.
because yeah, I used to host the Skype calls, Monkey, and because your internet couldn't handle it. Now your internet's better than mine, so you do it.
Actually,
I was coughing,
the
alright.
hosting Flea, how was your first experience happening with casting as well? Now that we've
Mine was not too bad actually. My first experience casting was a community cup. I was a player at the time, and no, we didn't have anyone to cast. I think at the time it was only Monkey, and I think you might have been casting as well, Cthulhu. I think you've been casting longer than I have. But both of you were at work this Saturday.
yeah.
And so we had no casters. And my team got knocked out in the semi-finals, so I just said, yeah, why not? I'll cast a grand final. And it just sort of went from there. It was Corvée versus what would go on to become Vizard. I forgot their name before Vizard.
Pandora.
Like Pablo, Uni, Pandora, yeah, that was them. So yeah, it was Corvée versus Pandora, and everyone was writing it off as a Corvée 5-0, but Pandora put up a fight. I think it was 5-3 at the end, or 6. It might have been 6-4. But it was a really good game. Which sort of helped.
Pretty solid for a first cast. I think that trumps mine.
Yeah, no, mine was really good actually. I'd spoken to Monkey like the night before, and he sent me all the visuals. And that was it. Like that was the prep work.
Make it up. That's what you're gonna do.
And that was it. But that was it. We learned everything we did through trial and error. Some things didn't work, and some things did. So we just got in and gave it a go. And at the time, it was just great to have a caster. We didn't quality wasn't an issue. If you go back and watch some of the earlier casts, they are cringy. The quality is terrible. Everything is just bad. And but yeah, over time, we found out what's work. We've refined it, and yeah, it's gone really well.
This is why I think it's just. Oh, you go first, Cthulhu.
Sorry. Yeah, I do remember even like for one of my casts, like I think it was like third or second one. Midway through rehost, I decided, I'm gonna mute the mic because we're gonna go for the music pause. And then I did press. No, I have an immense problem with some of the hotkeys jamming up, and the rehost over. Like we're back on the game screen. I tapped the hotkey, like do the casting, and then turn my head around to have a look at the chat, and then saying, "Where's the mic?" Like, no.
I've done that. We've all done that. Or you've left the overlay up.
Yeah, and I have, like
That's a
on the
right
second screen.
passage.
I've
Not a cast until you left the overlay up.
I've casted like a whole round with the like the be right back screen on, and at the end I look at the Twitch chat and I'm like, oh, bummer. And my other thing, if Beer Scotch is watching, Beer Scotch did his first cast, duo cast with me a couple weeks ago, and I muted him for like the first 1.5 rounds, and I didn't realize. And I kept messaging him like, Beer, you gotta unmute yourself on your end, and then I realized it was just in the volume mixer. I'd muted Discord.
Yeah, like you leave the screen up and you just start getting bombarded with messages, and you're like, "Do you mind?" And then you check them, you're like, "Oh."
Yeah, I remember one of the Pro League matches. I think I had like a problem again, like with the hotkey, and I did not mute the mic, or it was. No, it wasn't the mic. It was the overlay problem again, and people started spamming me. I think even Flux like jumped into the channel, but I didn't pay attention to it. It was like. Everyone pinging me like the overlay is still up. Yes, I know. I'm fixing it. There's a delay. Like, no, you didn't fix it.
Yeah, people don't understand about the delay. That's the other thing. And if you try and troubleshoot any problem during a cast, you have to wait 5 minutes for feedback on it. It's just incredibly frustrating. I mean, even during the Pro League qualifiers, when I was casting, it was duo casting because I still didn't have my fast internet yet. So I did a lot of duo casting with Rogue Welshman, and it was just like take issue after take issue. And I remember there was one game which was like such a good one. It was on Oregon. I can't remember who it was. I'm pretty sure Corvidae was in that match, and it was just such a fantastic close game. And I was casting it, and then people on stream were like, "Dude, we can't hear Dev's mic. Can he just stop speaking?" And I'm like,
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, it's just an issue with Skype and its volumes.
it turns the system down while it's not good.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I'm also sorry. I'm taking some time. I'm also gonna point out from the chat. Dizzle mentioned the ASMR casting. That was the bane of me because I like before starting the cast, I bought actually the semi-studio mic, and when I was trying to screw around with the sound settings, that stuff ended up like being so corny. Like even during the casual ranked matches, like always, like, what is this ASMR shit? Insane stuff happened to me because the problem for me was the fact that I have full house of families and I still need to cast during like when they already all went to sleep. Like, come on, need to be as quiet as possible.
Yeah. I actually finally watched
So bad.
a video of ASMR the other day, and it made me think, yeah, this would be fun to do while casting. Like, and then Thermite heads on. Thermite's gonna be next to you. As completely. I think after
Yeah,
yeah, go.
At my old house, like my computer was like right in the lounge room where the missus watches the TV, and like I'd be like casting, getting all hyped, and then suddenly a shoe flying across the room right at me. Like, shut up! I'm just like, sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Sorry to derail you, but yeah.
I remember talking to one time to I can't remember whether it was Hawk or someone else, but maybe it was after I casted the PDM Spice Rum match on the Community Cup, which was on Plane, by the way, so definitely worth the watch. I think it was Hawk or something mentioned that they wanted to do a like an admin group cast where they just had all of the admins casting a match at once. So there was like Jeebus and everyone in there just like yelling at
Well, let's be honest. Jeebus was there. No one would also get a chat in.
That's hey, even in some of I'm pretty sure I've duo casted with one of you before, and Jeebus has just come into the chat. I'm pretty sure it must have been you, Monkey.
Oh yeah, everyone's have those moments where Jeebus just pops
Tunnel
into the
snakes
chat.
rule.
Yeah, yeah, it's about it.
Oh, boy.
So I do actually have some questions here that we intended to actually ask.
Yep.
It wasn't just. I mean, like we can have some fun, but we're like So, we kind of heard a little bit of the origin story for Flea, but Monkey, what's your origin story?
Well, I suppose for me, you'd have to go all the way back to when I first started, like getting into esports, like or competitive online games, I should say. Like I never really was interested at all. I played a lot of single player games, but the thing that got me into playing competitive games was Rocket League, right? And so I was playing that, and then a mate's like, "Oh, you love playing online games? You should try out Rainbow Six." Right? It makes my heart beat like crazy. It's so, fun and intense. I'm like, all right, sure. I don't know. So I get it on PS4 and I play that, and like, yeah, this is pretty good, right? But like a couple months later, yeah, I started on PS4. A couple of months later, like
so that
guys,
explains a lot.
We can't. Yeah.
Oh! Anyway, shut up. A couple of months later, I'm like on Facebook like late at night or something like that, and like I see a thing for like the Rainbow Six Pro League starting up. So I click on that, and I literally watch it all night. I'm thinking, wow, I want to get involved in this. So like a few months go by, I buy PC, mainly playing Rocket League on PC, but like whatever. And like I see Jeebus is going to be cast in a match that night when I get involved in the community. I joined Lemon Squeezy. I'm like, sure, I'll watch this. Right. So I tune in and watch. I'm like, yeah, I reckon I could do this. So I messaged Jeebus. I'm like, yo, I'd be interested in giving it a go. Now to start off with, my internet was not good enough to cast because crappy household internet. So the first couple of casts I did was off 4G, off my mobile internet thing. It's good enough. It was I had like 40 gigs, so I couldn't do too much. right? But then when I got NBN, I was like, sweet, let's go. So yeah, that's what I did. I just messaged Jeebus. I'm like, yo, I reckon I could do this. Let me have a go. So, like, the first match I did was a scrim between Lemon Squeezy and Event Horizon, and because the day after they were playing Trident, I think it was season 2 of the Cyber Gamer ladder. You know, be almost a year ago now. Maybe today's my cast anniversary. I don't know. But, like, I did that scrim, and then the very next day, I did Lemon Squeezy versus Trident, and yeah, like the scrim that I was doing, half of the match, it was just a black screen with me talking. I didn't even know. So yeah, that's my origin story. And ever since, I've been the guy who does all the things around R6ANZ.
The manager.
The guy that does all the things.
Stream manager.
No,
Infamous.
I do nothing. I just take all the credit and cast occasionally.
At least you admit it. I mean, if it was Jeebus,
That's what
he'd
a
just
manager
blame
is.
Hawk. Hey, that's true.
That's what a manager is.
That's what
Yeah,
that's
Monkey
what
probably has more people who reports directly to him than Jeebus.
Maybe.
Like,
Oh yeah,
consider-
okay.
all
Dizzle,
of
sorry,
us
said
report to
something in
Monkey.
chat. I did also cast some Xbox stuff for a bit, and
With
that
the-
was like
with
for their,
Elastic, right?
you know. No. This is before then.
Okay.
I didn't even know Elastic then. They were doing their qualifiers to see who would go to Canada. But, you know, I didn't have an Xbox, so what they did is ESL streamed me the video of them spectating, and I streamed that with me casting over that. So that was pretty good. Like, I got quite a fair few viewers on my channel just from like all the exposure and like that was pretty fun.
So you streamed that on your own channel?
I did then. We did have R6ANZ, but there was a thing with like the person who originally owned it was like, oh, we don't want it used anymore or something like that. But it's all sorted out now. Yeah.
And then we got R6ANZ2 because now we have like so many casters. Like we have 5 casters just in the same Discord call right now. Like we have so many casters, and like during the Pro League qualifiers, there was up to 5 matches being casted at once, which was fantastic. So we have a need for people to use their individual channels and people to use R6ANZ1 and R6ANZ2. When did that actually happen? The R6ANZ2 channel.
R6ANZ2 came into effect just for Xbox initially, wasn't it? That was the idea. It was meant to be for console. We're meant to have one for PC and then one for Xbox. But it just
the
sort
Xbox side didn't take off, did it?
Yeah, and well, we had so much of a use for the in-house channel that we just kept it for PC.
Yeah,
I might be able to check when it was made. I don't know, maybe not.
I think no. R6ANZ2 was converted from R6ANZ PS4 or something like that. Like that was its original.
No, it was originally going to be R6ANZ Xbox, and then Jeeves was like, maybe we should make it PS4. I'm like, let's just make it ANZ2, and we'll just, you know, like we don't want separate channels for the one thing. It's just going to be primarily this channel, and then maybe ANZ2 if there's 2 more.
Yeah.
I've got a quick question. What I guess this is sort of for everyone. Like, what would you guys say to people that are thinking about getting into casting?
Give it a go.
Give it a go.
Get in, cast a match and see what happens. That's how we got into it. Yeah,
I actually recorded a video the other day of just spectating. So if you want to give it a go, like I can link that and you can watch the video and just give your own go of casting over the spectating that I've got going. Even if you just record that and send it to me, and I'll take a look. But yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Flea. Carry on.
No, that's right. It's yeah, like there's a wealth of experience of casters here now with a whole range of experience. We've got, you know, Monkey's been casting forever and a day. Cthulhu and myself have been casting for almost just as long. You know, we've got Pro League experience now. We've got casters casting everything every weekend. You know, if you want to get in, give it a go. Just ask us. You know, if you're not sure, if you want some advice, we have so much experience between a lot of us now. Just get in and ask one of us. Give it a go. It's the only way you're going to learn.
And to be honest,
everyone
we're probably never going to say no, because, you know, we let Flea cast, so anyone can.
I feel like the OBS setup is somewhat of a hurdle that a lot of people shy away from, because I've actually got quite a few messages from various people asking to duo cast matches. Like Beer Scotch and Finn, I've duo casted with both of them now. And occasionally I get messages from other people as well. But like sometimes people don't want to have to straight up get into the OBS stuff because quite frankly.
Oh,
Like,
it's complex, isn't it?
you guys can see my screen right now. Do you want me to scroll through all these sources? Like,
Yeah, that's a lot. I can't be bothered doing that.
yeah,
Keep it simple.
yeah. I mean, you can just keep
It's
it simple, but
yeah, you can keep it simple. I mean, just starting out, you'd mostly take CG matches and the community
let it.
cup. So you'd only need the two setups. It's not until you actually need to get approved to do ESL work. So it would only be the community cups and the CG work to start out with.
Yeah.
So that's not too hard to keep up to date. And because I considered it a little bit of a hurdle to set it up as well. And it took me probably a good 4 hours of just solidly playing around with something until I got a product that I liked.
Yeah, I've actually written a
initially to
guide
begin
that's
with.
easy to follow.
Yeah. And so it's that can be a bit of a hurdle, but trial and error can overcome that as well.
Another thing, from me to both of you, or even maybe all of us, do you guys tend to do a whole lot of research prior to the match, or do you generally, like, if you know the team and how they just play, do you just jump in straight within just the common sense knowledge? Like, let's say for the go fours.
When I first started, I did a lot of pre-work. I did a lot of pre-work to find out things about players and that sort of stuff. Now that I'm with it a lot more and cast quite often, you tend to learn about the players just watching them over time, and learn about the teams watching them over time. So I'm doing less and less prep work now. If a big event comes up, I still do all that prep work. Like I did a massive amount of prep work for the LAN. Same with the Pro League Cups as well. And with Pro League, because it was only 8 teams and I knew them quite intimately at that point, I didn't need that much prep work going into them. If I was casting something like the SEA teams or the Japanese or the Korean teams, absolutely I would have done all that prep work. But yeah, initially you sort of have to, just to maintain that knowledge base.
yeah. What kind of prep are you actually talking about? Like, give us some examples of stuff that you did, for example, doing for the LAN.
For the LAN, I actually went back and rewatched the season games of the two teams, the qualifiers, and I had that huge stat sheet. Like everyone remembers that stat sheet that I've since given up. I had that huge stat sheet, and I'd refer to that a lot. So it was, I just kept that stat sheet up to date, and that gave me a lot of it. I noticed a lot of trends going through as well, which is part of the reason why I said that I thought Atletico was going to win at LAN, because that was quite controversial at the time. Because I had seen that, thanks to my stats, they were on a huge upswing, right? So that's why part of the reason why I backed them. And that sort of prep work, it takes a lot more time, but it makes your experience, and it makes the viewer's experience, which is the whole reason why you're there, a much better experience.
You're much more informed, and you have actual evidence to back up what you're saying and what you're claiming every time you make a prediction, every time you say, now this is a strat that we're used to seeing from this team. Because if you haven't done your research, then you don't know what teams do.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like, the research I do, and I suppose when I first started out casting, I remember the very first one I did was I actually wrote a script for the intro. Like I wrote it up of we're gonna talk about this first. Welcome, blah 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 blah. Right, team lineups, everything. Right. I didn't go so much into the players and the strategies we're going to expect, but the strategies. I'm more focused on the players, but I like to be able to build that story around the players and what they're doing in the team and where they came from. And that's especially what I did. Especially seeing as I've been getting into Counter-Strike casting down here in Adelaide, I don't know any of these teams or any of these players. So I've been doing a lot of research into them and how these teams have been doing on the trend lately, and I suppose the more you cast, the less prep you need, because the more you can handle nicely. Like for example, the very first time I casted here in Adelaide, I was casting with T-Ball, And like we sit down on the desk, we're about to go live in about a minute or something like that. And he goes, "Oh, so what's your name again?" And I was just like, yeah. So you know, the more like for now, the prep work I do, like for like teams I know, none. All right, like I just sit down and go for it. But like teams I don't know, like you know, for example, with the Asian teams at the APAC LAN, I'm gonna do a bit of research on them and make some notes. So
yeah, you're gonna have
pretty much
to.
the same.
It's-
Yeah, pretty much the
yeah,
same.
like
When you do some
I'm
collab.
gonna be spending probably the first week, probably the whole of next week actually, leading into the APAC LAN next weekend. Actually doing the research on it. You know, watching their games, watching the teams, see what they do, see what maps they favor.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
go
We
from there.
definitely need to do a bit of collab there, I reckon.
Yeah,
Knuckle down.
we will
I
assign
do-
someone to do it, and then we'll steal all their notes.
I just know that that's
Fleet.
going to be me. Oh, it's going to be Fleet? Good. Okay, I didn't say anything.
I do want to add also, like from my side, when I was casting Southeast Asia, since I literally knew nothing about any of the teams, like absolutely, legitimately nothing. I couldn't even find any proper VODs. Well, probably
Yeah.
because I was a lazy searcher. I ended up pinging Luda Metal, who's IGL of Tide. I ended up getting some sort of like text interview out of him on Discord. Like, can you tell me at least something about Southeast Asia? And after that, after like maybe several more matches, it was also me just jumping on ESL standings and just the whole statistics of win-loss between the teams and just having a look. Okay, so they won on this map, this map, this map, this map. Okay, so they're probably gonna win this. Like, that was pretty much, I think, that was all of the prep I did. Oh no, wait, no, I actually watched the interview from Junker News Network
With Luna
Shout
Metal,
out.
wasn't it?
with Luna Metal as well. Yeah, like I watched initially the shortened version. That was just straight up just question answer, and then I ended up on during free time.
There's
Ended up watching the whole longer version. Like
it's
it
like
was
an hour-long
almost 2
version where they
hours.
they go and play games together, basically. Yeah, I couldn't get through the
Yeah.
whole thing even though you sent it to me. I just watched the short version.
But yeah, so there's a variety of ways to approach the prep work
Yeah, and
for that.
yeah, definitely don't undervalue the just asking people things because people can be incredibly helpful. My experience I only did 2 Southeast Asia matches, but when I was casting Tide, they were just so friendly and so helpful. Every time I had a question, Quantic was there. Another really helpful team was Anthrax, despite some difficulties they had, like with the tech on their side. They were just so friendly and always eager to answer questions. And definitely, I mean, yeah, obviously we don't always all like on the same page with our first language, but be surprised at how much that doesn't matter when it comes down to it.
Just don't believe Corvidae when they tell you they have no strats.
Maybe they say that because they think that then people won't be able to counter strat them.
I mean, we all know.
Until you watch their games and you know
I mean, we all know that the dog strat was the main strat.
the dog strat.
The doc strat, yeah.
Rest in peace, doggo.
No, not the doggo, the doc.
Oh, the dog
Doc,
strat,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, the dog
But
strat.
you're referring to Doggo Esports then.
Oh god.
Oh, rip.
While we're still somewhere around the topic of pro league matches, I'm kind of curious. What was the biggest number of viewers that you guys got during the pro league matches?
All right, Mr. 1000, don't show off.
It wasn't even me,
Technically,
it was
Monkey and I got 4.5 during the
yeah.
ANZ LAN.
That's probably the most. But yeah, I believe I think we got about 500 or so, like on the main channel, like for just one of the normal Pro League weeks. But we only did 3 matches from my computer. I think the rest was in Sydney, and then is that it? 3 play days, I should say. So like
yeah.
Yeah.
If we're counting the qualifiers, we had like 1,500 at one point because we had King George and Kix hosting us.
Yeah.
And we had like 1,500 viewers at one point.
And also when Kix was casting on his channel, he got a ton of viewers.
Yeah, that
Well,
went
he's
up to
gonna
like
get some.
10,000, and we're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. One of my personal highs when casting was casting one of the SEA matches, and I look into the chat and Fabian's there, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Senpai, he's watching my cast. Of course he wasn't actually watching the cast, he was just talking in the chat, but let's not get into that. It's a whole other can of worms. I'm not. Every
Yeah.
time that there was like an entire discussion afterwards, I'm just like, but Fabian, did you like my casting? Please, did you like my casting?
I casted the Japanese, and that was just amazing to sort of see the pros in the chat. Just some really reputable community members. It's sort of cool for them to sort of watch the cast, and obviously, I just thought that was a pretty amazing experience.
Yeah, I think the highest for me was actually just around 500 to 600, and that was during one of the Tides matches, like at the end of the Pro
We
League.
had
leagues.
1,000 one time. I swear. It
Did
was
we?
1,000 on ANZ 2 for a Japan
Holy
game.
shit.
Unless that was Skies.
No, that was Sky. I never casted a Japan game. I
was it?
unfortunately
Sky
didn't get that
wins
much
this
for
round.
highlight.
Yeah.
That was-
Unlucky. Yeah, there was just a ton of support from Japan for just one cast for
That's
some
really
reason. It's strange.
The
I don't
scenes,
think
Alright, guys, we're all gonna show up, and then we're gonna go home.
the scene must be pretty big in Japan. I remember a Japan team went to the was it the season 4 announcement, because that was when the Japanese operators came out. Remember when they pitched
Oh, yeah, that's right.
the influencers, which was like Serenity and Messi
Yeah.
J, against the
Yeah, I do
Japanese team?
remember
Yeah. So I mean, I'm assuming in order for them to actually justify doing that, the scene must be pretty big in Japan.
Yeah, but the issue with Japan as like I think the reason why they might not have as such a strong scene is, from what I understand, is that Japanese law prohibits them from getting prize money if they have to pay for the game. Right?
Yeah.
So like, if it's a free-to-play game, you can have prize money, but the fact you have to pay for Rainbow, no prize money. From what I understand, I could be
It's
wrong.
classed as gambling, yeah. So they're not allowed prize money.
Interesting. I was watching. This is kind of incredibly off topic, but I was watching a video today about loot boxes and the concept of loot boxes being regarded as gambling. Interesting that buying a game and getting prize money off it is regarded as gambling in Japan, but games with pay-to-win loot boxes aren't regarded as gambling.
Yeah, I
That's
was
dumb.
watching something that these guys are trying to get a petition signed in it for the UK government to like
I
look
saw
at these
that.
loot boxes. Yeah. But yeah, I guess nearly every game these days has loot boxes. It's sort of, I guess, they say, all right,
But
you don't have to
Alpha
pay
Packs-
for DLC. Alpha packs, yeah, true.
But alpha packs, it's what matters more. Just buy 50 alpha packs. It's worth it.
I think the way Rainbow does it is the best way to do it. It's purely cosmetic, and you can get them anyway with it just buying them.
No, you can't.
Yeah, it's-
No, you can't.
Except,
Oh, yeah,
except
okay,
for limited
okay,
edition ones, okay.
Yeah.
But like, you were able to buy them with Renown previously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's purely
It's the best way to
cosmetic.
do it, and it's completely free as well for Rainbow. Whereas
Yeah.
stuff like Counter-Strike, where you have to open up a crate using a key, I really think that's a bit dodge. And the fact that also Counter-Strike has all these gambling sites around it, but it's not gambling
It's
because it's not with money. Like, it's completely off topic, but yeah, it's so dodge.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as loot box style things go, alpha packs are doing it better than most things, but I personally would much rather just see something in the shop and say, I want to buy this Hibana headgear, see that one and say, yep, I'll buy it for this much renown, which I've earned, instead of just being like, well, I want the legendary headgear, but I have to just keep buying alpha packs until I get it, even though I might really want the Hibana one and I don't want the Tachanka one, but I'm going to get the Tachanka one anyway, there's just as much
Yeah.
chance. So,
But the issue with that comes is I was retarded and didn't purchase the Black Ice headset when I wanted it.
yeah.
So now I have no choice but to gamble on the alphabet.
Yeah. No, I'm about half an hour behind in the chat, but Flea, we had a direct question to you from Squizzy. It was, when are you gonna get a new mic? And
When R6ANZ pays me.
show us the mic that you do have. You actually have a professional looking mic. I'm just not convinced that it's actually working right now because I don't know.
No, it is. It's plugged in. It's running through an icicle. The icicle could be damaged. to be
That
honest.
looks like a squid. honestly.
because I got a zip tie around all the cables because the cables are like 5 meters each. So it's like, yeah, it's an AT 2020 for anyone wondering in chat.
Dizzle literally just asked, is that an AT 2035?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oof.
Dizzle's right onto this.
Yeah, and it's running through an icicle, but I think the icicle might be damaged.
Someone did bring this up in chat, but I had actually written it down anyway. It's a bit of a controversial area, and I believe that Monkey said he was keen to talk about this. But the entire world has blown up with this news about Be Genius and Shiko. And, I mean, this is a massive can of worms, and I'm not really sure how much I want to open that can of worms, but I'm interested to hear. So maybe we should just give an overview of what's actually happened to people first.
444.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Gary.
so basically, a guy got caught cheating in a Pro League match. He had macros tied to his 4 button. He pressed 4 something like 4 times in the space of like 127 milliseconds or something.
And
like,
it was accurate enough that they've deemed that it has to be a macro.
yeah, it was pretty insane. So it was and so he's been banned from ESL.
For 2 years.
And the team's been kicked out of Pro League, but they can attempt to rejoin without what was his name?
Shiko, yeah.
Yeah, it was Shiko.
Shiko, yeah, without Shiko. They can attempt to rejoin next season without Psycho, and Millennium is taking their place because they just got knocked out by Millennium. My thoughts on it is good riddance. I'm not sure too many people will remember it, but the old R6 clan.
Oh.
The old R6 clan within Australia. We're notorious for macros. They used macros so much, and it was ridiculous, especially when the shield macro was a thing. I don't know if many other people will remember that. I've been around for as long as I have.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. You had 100% shot accuracy with the macro, and you didn't have to expose yourself at all. Because the moment you hit right mouse, you had 100% accuracy with the pistol. So the whole idea with it was you spam right and left mouse and had 100% accuracy and never expose yourself. And if you clicked it to a macro, your shield basically didn't move. Yeah, your shield basically didn't move. So I am solely against any form of cheating, like really, really strongly.
Shock.
I know.
Someone is against cheating? Wow, that's such an unpopular opinion. How are we gonna? How are you saying this?
Yeah, but I really agree with the public naming and shaming of them. I honestly think that the organization got off extremely lightly. I'm actually surprised that ESL and Ubisoft didn't try to make an example out of them. Because let's be honest, this is the first instance of cheating since BattleEye and Clever.
Yeah.
In the Pro League scene. So I'm surprised they didn't try to take a harder stance on them, to be honest. And I think the team got off extremely lightly.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm correct, but I think that the org is trying to like take legal action or something like that. They're trying to say that it's incorrect. So yeah, that should be interesting to see how that pans out.
They said that they're going to
know...
release a formal statement tomorrow, so we're gonna. I'm staying tuned for that.
I think it was their manager or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of have the thought on it like he's innocent until proven guilty. Of course, they've admitted that it is a possible chance that it could be done by a human. But like talking to someone else who knows a computer program was saying a person being able to replicate it that often is like 1 in 10 million chance of happening. So it is possible for a human to do it, but super unlikely. So I really want to like see the whole investigation rather than just the statement they've given us.
Well,
and also,
does anyone follow League of Legends when Riot used to announce their investigations? 100% transparent. Like all the transcripts and everything like that was released as well. It would have been a lot of effort, but it was really good, and you understood how they got to the conclusions.
Yeah, I mean,
so I still haven't finished.
Sorry, Monkey.
I'm also a little.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit skeptical, purely for the fact that ESL have had similar issues in the past of them, like, playing favorites. And if you search up on Reddit, there's tons and tons of stuff about the ESL reps just favoriting like certain teams and stuff like that. Like you know, in our scene, it's whoever gives Jeebus the most zingers. But I know it's. I don't think it's the EU one. I've seen the most complaints about vets to vets, which I think is the US one. So I really don't know. And if ESL haven't got like proof beyond reasonable doubt, they could be in a lot of trouble if they do take legal action against them. That B Genius, that is. So I really want to say we need to be 100% sure rather than just say this showed up and we're not sure what it does, but he's probably hacking. But you know what I mean? Like it's.
I get what you're saying.
We don't know 100% for sure.
I may be naive, but I do have faith in ESL that they wouldn't come out with this so decisively unless if they were sure.
Yeah.
And from
and it has been a few weeks, so.
And from reading I mean, it's been quite a while since the match. Everyone went crazy after the match because people jumped onto two bandwagons. It was, oh my god, Shaiko is the best player. Shaiko is better than Pengu, and the other bandwagon was, Sky, come on, please. The other bandwagon. The other bandwagon was Shaiko is suspicious, and so I mean I'm actually incredible. Like as soon as people started accusing Shaiko of hacks, I was like, come on guys, like we don't have to bring this up, honestly. But now I was genuinely surprised when I heard the announcement because I thought Shaiko was just a good player, and I think that really points out the fact that it's just a really specific kind of cheating. It's not like VWS Clever. If you guys watched the video that Canadian made on how he was exposed.
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious. You saw him like playing, and he looks to a second screen, he looks back, and then moves his mouse and shoots someone through a wall. Like,
well, there was also the one where he came back from the toilet and immediately called out where the other guy was.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah.
So,
but
that
Dizzle just brought up a very good point in chat that there were discussions amongst some pros about Shaiko before he was found out, and like Penta put up a protest in a match they won. Like, let's put that in perspective. Penta won the match, and they still protested. Yeah. So I think that does say a lot about the player, in my opinion,
and the certainty of Penta.
Yeah, and the certainty of it. I do think that this has been thoroughly investigated, and I agree here that ESL would not have acted the way they did if they weren't beyond a doubt.
You could say the same thing though, like the fact that just because he's sus doesn't mean he's a hacker. Like I was convinced that Emo Rin was a hacker for such a long time. Alright.
Emo Rin exposed. Can we rename the Twitch? Emo Rin exposed.
Damn it, Emo.
Like so many wall bangs and like flicks, but it was just his playstyle to shoot through walls so often and have that high sensitivity and of course, now I don't think that unless, it's going to show up Emo Rin Battle I Banned, but, yeah.
Don't do that to me.
It's immediately what I thought of when people are showing all these clips of Shaiko just getting these random wall bangs. Like, we've all been there.
But there's a difference between a clip and then a pro team protesting a match that they won. Like, that's...
Yeah, but, you can't say that...
Between, 3 and 4 clips that turn up on on YouTube or whatever it is, that's 3 or 4 clips. Like everyone gets a wall bang, right? But when an enemy, when another pro team protested against you, when they beat you,
if you watch the VOD, like Shaiko isn't too crazy. He gets a lot of frags, yes, but I don't think he didn't have too many knowledge of enemy positions.
He's not on trial for wall hacks. He's on trial for a macro.
Exactly. I actually agree with everything you said, Monkey. That's why I said when people were calling hacks just after the Shaiko match when he was going crazy getting lots of kills, I was completely with you. I was like, yeah, he's not hacking. He's just winning every single gunfight. But this is plausible as to why he's winning every single gunfight.
But then they also brought up that he might be ping abusing, because they did speak about the VPN that he was using. And that could also lead to being why he was winning all those gunfights.
And they were using TeamViewer as well.
Yeah,
okay.
I know
none of this has been
confirmed.
confirmed.
I run TeamViewer all the time.
Like none of this has been confirmed, by the way. Like the only thing that ESL said that Penta accused VPN, macro, TeamViewer. I think that was all of the allegations. And the only thing that's been confirmed is the macro use because Moss isn't particularly extensive. but I mean, it did log all of those inputs, like you were saying with the 4 key at 120 milliseconds. That's the only thing that they've proved so far, and I'm do not doubt that we're going to hear more about this in the coming days. I wouldn't be surprised if yeah. Anyhow, that's yeah, Cthulhu.
Matt Storm also just posted a link that got instantly taken down by a wonderful Nightbot, but nonetheless,
Damn Nazi mods.
God damn it!
When he writes a link to the wallbang,
it's a link to a wallbang,
yeah.
but I'm kinda unsure about the whole video because, I mean, everyone could just type in Shaiko .bg and just go for the wallbangs, but that's what I've seen like on at least several pro streams, like somebody naming themselves like even Biolo, and just going like absolutely nuts with the hacks. Maybe like, what are your thoughts about this kind of stuff? Like when
impersonating
somebody
it just feels
goes
like
for
a
those
massive
clips.
witch hunt, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like
It does get to a witch hunt point. Yeah.
Like I think we shouldn't be like, you know, naming and shaming until we're 100% sure. But the fact that he's been banned, I feel like he should get the name and shame. And like if it's just a macro, even just to like, you know, just do something tiny, like, you know, switch to his weapon faster somehow, I don't know, that should definitely deserve a ban. Any macroing full stop deserves a ban. But like, I want to know exactly what it was for. And like, you know, as I said, as like saying, like it could have been him just like mashing the 4 button to pull his gadget out faster or something like that. Like, we don't know for sure, and it probably is a macro. Probably, you know, doing something bad. But like, you know, to be guilty in a court of law, you have to be reasonable without. Sorry, what is it?
Beyond reasonable doubt. Is the term.
Yeah, beyond reasonable doubt. There we go. Be convinced beyond reasonable doubt. So, don't know. Like, I want to know exactly what ESL have decided and what they've all spoken about. I want 100% transparency rather than just this statement. He's been banned because of these accusations, like, and what we've found on the Moss files. That's just what I want to see.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I want to know what the macro is.
I think everyone's curious.
Yeah, other than that, to be perfectly honest, I'd trust the investigation issue.
Yeah.
We'll hear from the other side within a day or two, I betcha, from both Shaiko and Begenius. So we'll hear from both of them soon enough anyway. We'll get the other side of the match, but I have full faith. Like, this isn't ESL's first rodeo, right? So this isn't the first time they've banned someone for cheating. So I'm going to have faith in them, that the fact that they have a process in place.
You know, funnily enough, I do remember that, I think it was in Season 2 or Season 3, there was a match between 2 teams on Chalet, and they started spectating this one person quite a lot, and everyone in chat's going, oh, his aim looks like on point. Right, so they pause the match and they say they're investigating cheating accusations, and like they thought that guy had like a recoil control macro on, but they looked at his mouse and they like found out apparently it's a common spectator bug or something like that. Yeah. So it could be a whole lot of nothing, you know, but probably not.
Well, I mean, you playing the skeptic is interesting. Makes a good talking point, Monkey. And
do you think I'm a hacker? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, I do have a clip of you getting a cheeky kill with an Ash charge, but I do think that you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, I need to get that clip and bring it on next week's podcast.
Yeah.
One HP on bank, about to Ash open the hatch in the open area closet. The Ash charge accidentally hits the monitor right next to him and he kills himself. It's one of the best matches I've ever played.
That's not a hack, that's just skill.
He knows, game sense.
Skill. 100%
game
skill.
sense. Yeah. Well, we've actually been going for almost an hour now, and we've gone through a lot of things. We've talked about mostly casting and a little bit about the Shaiko debacle. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about in particular, like maybe the International League? I don't know. I've personally been following it a little bit less than I have in previous seasons, but I mean, there's always things to talk about.
Yeah, I suppose having our own pro league to work with, that you don't really care about the other pro leagues until it comes to LAN. That's what I've really noticed. Like, I've watched a bit and some, but not as much. I suppose if we really want to talk about something international, maybe we could talk about Interrobang and Emzo coming onto the pro league casts.
So that
Any thoughts
Yeah.
on that?
ties in with the casting stuff as well. Yeah. Who's your favorite caster? International
Mine?
caster, excluding present company excluded. Because we all know that we're just gonna pick ourselves. So present company excluded.
My favourite international caster or caster duo is actually for Counter Strike, and it'll be Henry G and Sadikist. Oh, they're just so amazing.
I'll pretend that I know who you're talking about.
I think my favorite. If I had to pick one caster, I really enjoy Emzo's casting. I think I don't know. I just sort of like his style. It's a little bit different, but I think that he knows his stuff and he does it well.
I'd actually. Oh yeah, you go, Flea.
No, you go.
I'd say that actually Kicks and Intero have been doing actually pretty well, and
There's no
compared to Kicks and Bloodbath combo, they seem to have like that kind of bit of a tension going all the time, and this time with Intero, it's just all like just proper flow of things and proper flow of cast. So I reckon that was a really good move with the change up, let's say, of the caster lineups.
Mine actually goes out to the League of Legends casters. They have some really good casters in that game. Check out anything to do specifically around D-Man was really good when he casted that. He now casts Counter-Strike as well though. D-Man, Jat were a really good combo.
I think
I learned most of what I learned off watching them.
You think the skills are transferable?
Absolutely. The game knowledge stuff is not, but absolutely their skills are transferable to other games. If you can cast one game well, I believe you can cast all of them well.
As long as you know the game.
Yeah, I mean that's why I wouldn't.
With D-Man and Joe Miller, they were a great combo.
I feel like I couldn't cast any other game because I'm clueless with like. I mean, I could cast Battlegrounds or Skyrim. I could definitely cast Skyrim.
Skyrim.
I'd be a pro Skyrim caster.
Hour 180 into the game.
Oh, the round's nearly over, guys. I promise. I think my long-time favorite, like when I started getting into like I only picked up Rainbow Six like to play at the very start of Skull Reign, so season 3, year 1, and straight away I got like it was the first time I'd been interested in esports. Straight away I started watching all of the International Pro League, and I absolutely fell in love with Panky and Kicks as a duo. And Panky was amazing. And also I mean the accent. Come on, I may have a little bit of a thing for accents, but God, you know. Panky and Kicks had a really good chemistry, and they both had a huge amount of knowledge and a huge amount of confidence going in. And they're also really different as well. And because they were mates, they really got along. I feel like Interrobang and Kicks also have that chemistry, which is why a lot of people like them. But I don't know, my opinions of the international casters have changed a lot over time. I used to not really like Bloodbath's casting very much, mostly because he just usually replaced Panky, which made me sad. But these days, it's actually Milosh the Medic, who I find to be one of my favorite casters. He brings so much just really interesting flavor into the cast with every time he says this is like really interesting metaphor or like a saying, and he just slots it in there, and you're like, oh, that was interesting. It took me an extra 3 seconds to understand that, but I thought that was cool and funny. And paired with, I mean, I personally probably favor the analytical side a little bit more, so I'm more watching out for that, and I think that's what Milosh is particularly good at. But paired up with a really good play-by-play caster, I think it's just, it's like perfect for my tastes. But when it comes down to it, everyone's got their preferences. and everyone's got their own way, their own style of doing it as well.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
What do you think it's going to be like at the coming LAN?
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great.
So hyped.
Actually having a break will be good. So the fact that we're going to have, you know, 2 casting duos at the LAN would be good. And getting to see the different players as well, and the different teams, even from the different regions, I think would be great. I've actually asked about whether or not there's going to be like an analysis desk or anything like that. There's unfortunately not. It is just going to be the one desk with the casters and the host there, same as what there was at the ANZ LAN.
But there's always next time for that.
Yeah, but the thing that blew them away, ESL away, and the reason why they didn't is they said they're going to need bigger, like they need more room for spectators. Yeah. Like they were blown away with the amount of spectators that turned up to the ANZ LAN. Monkey and I turned up early, and they were still doing the Rocket League tournament, and the room was like 3/4 empty. And then the Siege one came in, and there wasn't enough chairs. Like people were standing, people were sitting on the floor. It was, it was pretty.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I was so blown away with the support that came from ANZ. But now they're going to add 3 other regions to it. Like, it's just they just didn't have the room.
I really think this is going to be an ANZ dominated LAN, not necessarily in the match results, but definitely in the support. And I think that's got to be a
Of course.
Like we've got the home field advantage, guys. I mean, how many people do you think are going to be coming from Japan, Korea, Southeast Asia, etc.? Like, how many people do you think are going to be coming?
Probably
from
just the teams.
Yeah,
pretty
I'd
much.
say probably just the teams and the coach, the support staff.
I would be actually. I'd say that there could be potentially a few people coming in from, at the very least, I'd say Southeast Asia, because I mean,
closer.
Yeah, it's closer, and the support for at least one of the teams being tied.
Yeah.
I reckon at the very least we're gonna see maybe 5 to 10.
I mean, I definitely want to be the advocate for multiculturalism, and I want to see everyone flying their colours there. But I also want Australia and New Zealand to have the spotlight a little bit, just a little bit. I'm just a little bit biased in that one.
My home bias says that I want both Corvidae and Mindfreak in the finals, right?
I kind of do, but I also want to see Tide there.
Yeah. But you know, I want to see the best teams there.
Yeah, absolutely.
My advantage will have me rooting for Mindfreak and Corvidae, but ultimately, I would just want the best teams there. So whoever wins on the day will be who I feel deserves to be there.
So
I suppose
who I'm rooting for and who deserves to win are 2 different things. I was a Team Liquid supporter for like all through Brood War, StarCraft 2. And then they bought a League of Legends team and they just sucked, and I still supported them. So you know who I support and who I think deserves to win are going to be 2 different things. So.
I suppose that's a good way to tie into a question I saw in chat, like how do we think the APAC's going to compare to the rest of the world? I think if APAC's going to have an issue like standing up, it's going to be more because of our lower population size, well, mainly in Australia here. Competitively, Rainbow Six has been around not too long, so I don't think any team are going to be like way more advanced than any other teams. Like, of course, we do have those big powerhouses like Penta who are just look unbeatable at the moment. But like, I really feel like you know, the APAC teams just have to go out there, give it their best go, and you know, they don't have to care if they win or lose because everyone's going to expect them to lose, right? But if they win, everyone's going to be like, oh damn, like the team that loses to them is going to be. Yeah.
I've had this conversation before with other people.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing this up, and it's going to make it sound like I've got a bit of a history going on here. But look at the League of Legends World Finals. Like when they brought in what was known then as the wildcard teams, like people were in outrage because you know the stronger the stronger NAEU and Korea scenes lost out. But you know those wildcard teams are now getting through group phases. You know, one of them got out of group phase I think this year. And that comes to the point where you say, well, you can't deny it hasn't been good for them. They're now on the same page. Yeah, initially they weren't, but if they weren't given that opportunity, it wouldn't have created the better talent pool later on down the track.
Yeah, everyone from EU and NA who's been saying that ANZ shouldn't have, or APAC rather, shouldn't have a pro league, that APAC needs a pro league in order to get on the level of the other pro leagues. I mean, even if we're at a lower level now, it's what we need to make this next step, and that's what I'm really looking forward to 6 months, a year from now, when people don't bat an eyelid at APAC being in these international finals, and maybe people are rooting for APAC to take it home in the grand final. I mean, it only took the first, I mean, Brazil Latin America did have a pro league from the start. It was an an enclosed pro league within their own region. But eventually they did get to LAN, and they made it to the grand final, dominated, and none of the North American teams won a single map in that entire season final at the start of this year. So, something someone else said, I can't remember, it was on one of the R6ANZ channels, was that all of the NA, the EU, and the Latin American teams going into this LAN have huge amounts of pressure if they come up against an APAC team. Because people I can't remember whether it was King George or Kickstar, someone said APAC is regarded as a free win. Well, that puts in a huge amount of pressure to whoever's going up against APAC, because if you lose a free win, I mean, it doesn't look good, does it? Whereas APAC, there's no pressure on it for us. We don't have anything to prove because everyone thinks we're dog crap anyway. I mean, if we do take it to 6-5 overtime, if we do win, a 2-1 victory, or maybe we even lose 2-1, people are going to have to, take a look at themselves and say, oh, okay, maybe we underestimated those guys a little bit. And if we do get stopped... Yeah, exactly. And they were versing Error at the first invitational, and Error was, I think, the second top team at the time. They were the ones who were in the invitational final, I believe. So yeah.
And Kix also mentioned it on one of his streams that remember how NA played during the year one season one. I think it was like half season 2. Like NA was absolutely just horrendous in that regard. And
I mean, they played on plane.
Now they played on plane. But now the NA teams are playing toe to toe with the EU team. So I'd say it's only just a matter of time before APAC is going to be on that same level.
I mean, things go up and down with the different regions. One thing I'm really excited for is being able to say this is the APAC meta in the same way that we say this is what the EU meta is. I just want to, this kind of sense of identity. Maybe I'm being a little bit patriotic or something, but I just really like that, having that sense of identity.
I don't think any region really has that. Like, from what I see in the Pro League, it's, it's very rare for us to see a brand new strat, and when we do see one that works, everyone just steals it. And that's all we see. That's all we see.
Yeah.
Like, the same strat over and over and over again, see who can do it the best.
Well,
I really dislike that.
Yeah.
And I want to see more change up.
I think bringing in the APAC region will be that change. Like, ANZ has a different meta from Japan and Southeast Asia from what I've seen. So
we don't have any interaction.
And so what we're going to see at the LAN is going to be an absolute clash of play styles, and the team that's done their homework will be the team that comes out on top. The team that does the prep work and puts, studies the VODs and comes up with strats and says, hey, they do this a lot. Let's come up with a counter for this, or come up with something totally new that, works against another region's play style, will be the one that wins. And I think that's our advantage coming into whoever wins out of the APAC going into the Worlds. I think that's going to be our draw card. Is they're gonna have no experience coming up against and they always tell, every time we stream we always get tons of comments from international people telling us we're crap, our meta's shit, we're doing old things, all this other sorts of crap. So coming out from that and why are we doing this, it's so odd, it's so it's shit, doesn't make sense, blah blah blah. If we come out with that and we win with it, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Alternatively, we can come out and just get 5-0 and,
Yeah, I mean, if that does happen, then people are just going to be like, yeah, that's what we expected anyway, and we'll just be like, all right, this next time. So, there's no pressure on for us. Oh,
Um,
I believe we have lost Sky.
Rips.
well then.
Okay.
And has ruined all the pictures.
Ruined everything, Sky. Okay, maybe this is the bad. Maybe this is
Quickly.
the omen that we should actually wrap up. It is 11:05 my time. Later for anyone who lives in Kiwi land. I don't believe in any of the on stream at the moment or in New Zealand, but oh
Your boy.
Yeah, but Cthulhu stays up till 5 a.m. anyway, so what's the
Yeah.
difference?
oh wait, you are New Zealand, are you, Cthulhu?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
Just to add up,
I like.
there was that moment. Thank you for actually reminding that. During I think one of the last Pro League matches for Southeast Asia, we had what was it, 3 or 4 rehosts at Consulate for the first round. Players starting to complain, it's getting late, it's 11 p.m. And I'm just there like at the back with a muted mic, like just giggling my ass off. Yes, please. It's 5 a.m.
Cthulhu needs sleep as well, damn it!
And that was also made like during when it was like an hour and a half away from waking up to university as well. So it was like, oh yes, glorious. But it was actually it was still fun. Oh man. Nonetheless, I believe Dev is still fixing the
Slightly. Look, no, it's
the
alright.
technical
It
difficulties.
looks slightly less professional, but
But nonetheless, before we're gonna fully wrap up, guys, at least like from my side, I'm gonna say that I'm extremely hyped. Finals. I mean, not the ANZ finals, the APAC finals, and I reckon it's gonna be absolutely just amazing how we're gonna have a variety of teams, and I'm guessing there's gonna be a whole lot of just those really close games.
yeah.
And I'm actually pumped for that.
I want to see some overtime. I just want to see. I'm so excited to see Tide because I mean, yeah, we've seen a lot of Corvidae and Mind Freak, and I mean, I kind of know what to expect from them to some extent. We recognize the players and faces, but Tide to me, I mean, they've been around for a long time, but I haven't been following them for a long time. And to me, they're this new force that I want to see, and I want to see them dominate, and I want to see them. I want to see the new strats, like Monkey was saying. I want to see new things come out, and I want to see people going crazy and doing things that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm super hyped for it myself. I'm already on countdown mode. I'm pretty hyped about it. I'm really eager to get it going.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where we'll wrap it up. Thank you very much to everyone who's been watching tonight. We've had on and off. I think we've been going through a whole different. We've had the view count's been going up and down, but this has been one of the funnest podcasts I've done. One of the funnest streams I've done in general, like including casting. It's just so good to just chill with you guys and see all your pretty faces.
Monkey in his onesie suit.
Yeah, I mean, it was worth it just for the onesie suit. And can confirm Cthulhu. It's definitely very bright where Cthulhu is, so he definitely needs to be wearing those sunglasses.
I mean, legitimately, after I tried to take off the glasses, I was
Glasses underneath.
Well, thanks for joining us, Sky. Even though Sky had some issues there and he dropped out and he ruined it for everyone else, but it's okay. We still love him. And yeah, thanks to the special guests, both of you. You guys have been so much fun to work with tonight, and I am stoked to work with you at LAN. I'm just so excited for that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Land's going to be awesome. So I'm looking forward to being able to put faces to names. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, I did just link the email, the address in chat for information about it, but it's going to be 21st, 22nd this month, probably on the twitch.tv Rainbow 6 or R6ANZ ESL. I'm not sure which channel, but make sure you watch it, guys. It's going to be great.
Look, this one will probably be hosting it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
And for anyone who's in Sydney, honestly, just come down. Like, I don't live in Sydney, but if I did, there would be nothing stopping me from going. I'm flying there, but like, if I was living in Sydney, nothing would stop me from going. And it's a steal for the ticket price costs. So honestly, just go there, represent your community, and come and have a laugh with all the people and the spectating. Like, just it's gonna be so much fun, and I'm so looking forward to meeting absolutely everyone that I can.
Except Corviday's socially awkward. Hey, wild man.
Oh, don't be rude. Don't be rude.
Come on.
That's alright. Yeah, everyone's great. All the players we met, includling Corviday, I'll just throw that out there. They're all a great bunch of guys. They're a great bunch of guys.
Toxic play.
They're all happy. They're all happy to meet each other and say hi, and talk to each other. So just don't go out with deals.
Yeah, apparently
Dude's a machine.
Apparently people were up incredibly late last time. Jeebus said he got like 1 hour of sleep or something. Disclaimer.
We got back to the hotel at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Jeebus woke up at 5 and fell down the stairs.
Oh,
no.
I'm
yeah,
saying,
it was pretty insane.
This
it was fun.
That is not gonna be me. I am putting my foot down now. I promise. I am going to Cthulhu. Don't drag me out, all right? I need sleep. Don't do it to me, because you know I'll fall for it. Cthulhu, no. All right.
You know it.
Okay, it's time to sign off tonight. It's been awesome having everyone here. Such a fun podcast. Now, the podcast does occasionally change times week to week, depending on the availability of our guests. So you have to stay tuned during the week. We'll let you know when it's online, and we'll let you know what we have in store. And then the following week will be after the LAN. So we'll have even more to talk about, and hopefully we'll do some brainstorming, get some really exciting things happening, hopefully. So, yeah. Thanks everyone for tuning in. See you guys later.
See you guys.